Hello there. We actually had a question from somebody in the community that I thought would make a great video. So here we are. And that question was Google Books versus Amazon Books, and then the Kindle. Which is better? How does the Kindle fit in? What's this all about? What should I do? So that's what we're going to talk about. And it's rather well timed since with the holidays, we're recording this Turkey Day on 2022. So being a Black Friday and all, there will be amazing Kindle deals. So maybe we're not the only ones wondering this about this question. So let's get this started, shall we? Okay, so ebooks, right? A good thing. You can keep up with your reading wherever you are. I'm still a fan of the physical media, but I do read a lot of books online, and so does everybody else. And so a question came up from the community about the difference between Google Books and Amazon Books and how and where the Kindle fits in. So that's what we're going to talk about. What we're going to do is I'm going to go through sort of just the basic facts about this first. And then that'll take care of everybody who's, TLDR, too long didn't read. And then for anybody who wants a little bit more in depth, at the end of that, we're going to go through and do a sort of a side-by-side comparison, which I think will really help a lot of people kind of figure out what's the best path for them. Sound good? All right, let's get this party started. Let me bring up the right screen. What do you think the odds are? Let's see. This one. Nope, that's not the one. That's the one. There we go. All right, and we can lose me. And yes, that is the topic. Okay, so which is which and what are we talking about? So when we're talking about Google Books and Amazon Books, what we're really talking about are ebooks. And in both cases, that's what these are. They are something that you're going to be reading online, and I actually have a real definition for that. So an ebook is an ebook, also known as an electronic book, some people refer to it that way, is content that has been converted into a digital format to be displayed and read on electronic devices. For example, tablets, computers, smartphones, whatever comes down the road. Basically anything that has an internet connection or that you can install files on. So the Google ebooks come in basically two file formats. It's PDF and EPUB. EPUB is sort of the generic, and everybody, has probably come across a PDF in their life at this point. Amazon is a little bit more complicated. They do the PDF. They've just recently added EPUB to replace one of the older formats that they'd had. And then they also had this thing called KF8, which is, you see, if you look at the actual file name, it's .azw3. And then there's the AZW, which is the earlier version of AZW3. Now, you don't really have to know too much about this unless you're looking to transfer files, which we will talk about a little bit later. But the idea is that the Amazon world has proprietary versions of some of their content. And they also have the industry standard, more transferable versions. So if you do want to get into, getting something from Amazon and putting it on another device, as long as it's one of the first two, you're good. If it's one of the other two, then there's extra steps involved. It is still possible, but it is a little bit more involved. Shall we call it that? That's probably the nice way to put it. Now, what are we talking about as far as security? So this is usually referred to as DRM. Which means stands in for digital rights management. And it's just a form of digital protection that Amazon and Google use to protect their books from widespread piracy. It's just, so you can do DRM on the PDF and the EPUB. It's a little bit more of a straight path if you're still looking to transfer it, because all they're going to do is they're going to ask you to verify that you have the rights to, have this content. Whereas with the Amazon proprietary ones, that's more them trying to keep you in their ecosystem. But like I said, there are ways to get around that. And by the way, there are links for all the things that we're going to be talking about in the description as usual. So don't worry, we got you covered. All right. So the other thing that I want to get out the door right up front is that you do not need any special device to read either Amazon or Google Books. So what specifically am I talking about? Let me just come back here for a second. So you don't have to have a Kindle to read Amazon books. You don't have to have a Kindle to read any ebook. Same goes for the Nook and all the other e-reader devices out there. It's a nice to have, if this is your thing. But I just want to make it clear, because I know that there's a lot of confusion about that. You do not have to. You can buy ebooks and read them on what you've got, and you don't need to go the extra step if you don't want to. It's totally a personal choice kind of thing. Okay, let's see if I can get this back. There we go. So that's probably the biggest point that I want to make here, because that's where a lot of people get tied up with all this kind of stuff. The other thing that is very important for everybody to understand is that Google and Amazon ebooks are available across all operating systems. So basically, if you have a device with an internet connection and or that you can install files to, then you can read these ebooks. So again, you don't need anything special. If you were able to buy an ebook or somebody was able to gift you an ebook, then the odds are really good that whatever you've got will already work. So as far as some of the perks of using one system over the other, Amazon has started testing a rewards program for buying and reading ebooks. It is not rolled out to everybody. I did do a show on this a couple of weeks ago, so if you're interested, I will put that link into the description. I did forget to add that. But if you're interested in that type of thing where you get, some sort of reward points that you can then cash in, that is certainly an option with Amazon. That said, when you buy books from Google, you earn Google Play points, which then you can use to put towards apps or other books or whatever. Another thing that I should probably jump in here real clear with is that when I'm saying books, I'm really talking about any kind of reading material. So yes, we're talking books, obviously, but it's also magazines, newspapers, graphic novels, comics, all those kinds of things. So I'm just using books and ebooks to be a generic term, but it's really any content that you can consume in that type of a format. So just to make sure that we're clear on that. All righty, let's keep going. So what kind of content can you get on both platforms? As a general statement, right, most genres are available on both platforms. However, individual title availability will differ on one or the other, depending on a lot of different things. And this changes all the time. So it is worth checking back. If you make a decision that you're going to go all in on one or the other, and you're not able to find some content, it's worth keep checking back, because the issues are usually coming from contracts with the publishers, and these things escalate and then, calm down. So sometimes they'll remove things for a while they're negotiating, and then they'll let them come back. That said, there are also times where there's just content, like in particular, that there's a particular title that you want that you can't get. That is not going to be the fault of either platform. That is the publisher. So, for example, there is a series that I really like that I go back to read on a fairly regular basis. For whatever reason, and I have no insight into this, but for whatever reason, the publisher has not made that series available online to anybody. I can't buy it from them. I can't buy it from any of the platforms. So, this is a very, small percentage of the content. And it's just, leave it to me to be unlucky enough to be in love with content that I would really like to have on any device. But I can't. I do have all the physical books, but sometimes I'm not someplace where the book is within arm's reach and I would like to spend some time reading it. So just be aware that you can get almost everything as an ebook, but not everything. And again, it's not a case where complaining to support for Amazon or Google or any other online book provider. Believe me, they want to make everything available to you. It's just up to the publishers, and sometimes I guess maybe the authors have something to say about it. It's weird. I've been looking for this for years, and it's just never ever become available. And I'm never going to give up hope. All right, let's keep going. Let's take the topic off there again. No, I said go away. Really? No. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, so that's just something else to be aware of. The other thing is that, yes, you can read Amazon ebooks in the Google view, and you can read Google books in the Amazon You can also upload, like if you have a PDF or if you have content that you've bought from one of the very many resources out there that also provide electronic books. You can generally put them on either platform if you like to keep everything in one spot, build out your library. There's always going to be exceptions. It's technology, and that's just how this goes. But for what it's worth, yes, you can, go ahead and swap around that way, however you need to. And oops, okay, see, so we got through that pretty quick. Bring me back. There we go. So that's the basic important information about this. So we're going to get into some side-by-side stuff, get into a little bit of other stuff. But if you're just looking for the answer of what's what and which is which, that's what it is. Google has, books, newspapers, magazines, all that kind of stuff, as does Amazon. For the most part, you're going to be able to find what you want on either. Every so often, there's a publisher who will favor one more over the other. But for the most part, you can go ahead and get the stuff. You do not need anything other than a browser to view these things. That said, you can also just use the apps. So there is a Google Books app. Don't have to have it, but if you want it, you can add that to your mobile devices. And the same on Amazon side, there is a Kindle reader app that you can go ahead and get. Okay, and the whole point of this is just that you do not have to have a special device to read these things. I love my special device. I have 2 of these because it does remove distractions, right? I mean, that's the perk of something like this is I'm not getting emails on it. I'm not getting Discord notifications on it. Like, this is just focus, read, pay attention. Folks who have been around for a while know that that's why I love the Remarkable devices, because when I just want to sit down and write and, make notes and think things through, no distractions is my goal. But you don't have to have a Kindle, a Nook, or any other kind of reader in order to go ahead and read these books. And I'm going to show you that, but just for the folks who need to bail now, you got your information, you're good to go. Hope you'll stop in again sometime. All right, so for everybody else, first of all, I didn't even get around to this, so let me do this. Hello and welcome. My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. Short version of why I'm here, why you're here is technology is my day gig. It's also my hobby, so I live inside this world 24/7. However, not everybody has the time or interest to do that, right? You have lives, you have jobs, you have things to take care of. So just over time, like, I'm sort of the go-to person inside my circle when people have a question, if they're looking for help, if they're looking for ideas. And that has extended to their friends, families, neighbors, and coworkers, which made me understand that not everybody has a geeky friend to talk to. So hello, I'm here for you. You can always reach out if you have a question, if you want help with something. This show came directly from an email from somebody asking for help on this topic. So thank you, Jackie. So you don't feel, shy. You can reach out, yourtechcoach.com. If you have a topic you want me to cover, if you have a quick question, go right ahead. I am more than happy to help you out with that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's go back to our topic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through sort of a side-by-side so that you can see both worlds and see if one of those clicks more for you, because that's really all this comes down to is which option is going to work best for you. You don't have to pick one. You can use both. It's totally your call. But like if you're totally in on Amazon, right? If you're a Prime member, if you're buying all the stuff, if your UPS drivers by their first name because of all the Amazon boxes that come, you may want to stick inside that world just for simplicity. And also as a Prime member, you get, perks and all that. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. Other side of the coin, if you are all in on Google and it's just easier for you to stay inside that world, that is totally an option. So this is our choice. This is one of the wonderful times where this is all our choice. We get to decide whatever we like and whatever's going to work best for us. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the other stuff. Actually, I've got all this stuff open and my poor little machine is going to lose its mind. All right, so again, all the links are in the description. But this is what you're going to see when you just go to books.google.com, right? So it's a very plain thing, and it starts you off with a search. If you go into Amazon and look at the ebooks, obviously they're a little bit better at some of the promotional stuff, right? They're a little bit better at advertising this kind of thing. So let's just start back again with this. So with this, you're going to go ahead and just start by typing in, a book title or an author. There we go. I can spell. For some reason, as soon as I start to stream, I can't spell anymore. So yeah, the title, an author, whatever, and then it'll give you results. You can obviously do the same thing here. So when you're in the Kindle store, it already has it filtered for that. So we can do this and get results. So you can see it's a slightly, now you can change, you don't have to be in dark mode. I like dark mode for all the things, even though it doesn't actually work across all things yet. But it gives you the different, options and gives you some information on it. Here it will give you the star ratings. You don't really get that inside of the Google world, but I will show you what you do get as we drill down. But you can go ahead and, scroll through. There's different covers. There's, accessory books, not accessory, what do they call those? It's like behind the scenes kind of stuff and additional information. This is tied to the fact that this is not only a great book, but it became an amazing series and there's going to be a new version of it. So yay us. So the same thing here. It's pretty much the same stuff, right? So it's pretty much apples to apples there, other than the star ratings, if that's important to you. So let's go ahead and just drill down on one. We'll just start with this one. Now, by the way, just so you're aware, Google is in the process of updating their look. So we're in the new look, but you can switch back to the other one if you want. Actually, that search is in the original one. And when we go to the library, you're still going to see they haven't quite moved everything over yet. But here is the information. And we'll just say, thank you. Okay. So we get some information about it, the authors, the date of this particular publication of it, some thumbnails. We get some information about the authors and the book itself. And then some details about this edition, which publisher it came from, all that kind of good stuff, a little summary about it. And then you can expand this to get more if you'd like. Looks like they're pulling from Wikipedia too. Then as you scroll down, on the right side, you're going to see more about the authors, some other books that they've published. But then you can see different ways that you can get this book. So for example, you can, get it from Scribed online, you get it from Google Play Books, you can get it from Barnes & Noble, and then you could expand that and see more places. And then you can also see that you can get it from your library. Now, this I really like because it's making this really easy for you to get your content however you want it, right? The Google is like, whatever, here's all the different ways you can get it. You can get it from us, you can get it over here, you can get it from your library, all this kind of good stuff. Obviously, we're not going to see that from Amazon, and I will show you that now. So let's go to Amazon, and Amazon is only going to tell us that we can get it from Amazon or from their other, retailers. So it does show you, you can get the Kindle, you can get the audiobook, you can get a hardcover, you can get a paperback, you can get the mass market paperback. These are all, if you're not really into publishing, there actually is a difference between the paperback and the mass market paperback, but we don't have to worry about it. We just want the words on the page. You can see, like some reviews and some summaries on it. It tells you the length of it, all this kind of stuff, but it's not going to tell you that you can get it from the library. It's just not. But you're going to get, reviews from other people. Like there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of, recommendations. So again, it's a close approximation of what we saw on the Google side. The big thing that is not here is the library thing. So there's that. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the library aspect of it. Now, when you first go into the Google library, like this account, like I haven't done anything with, I'll show you one that's populated in a minute. But this is what the library looks like. You see that it's not dark mode, nor is it in the new layout, but that's okay. Then it'll come. So over here, they've got some default shelves, they call them. You can also go ahead and create your own, right? So you can create, my faves. You can put a description in here. Oops. Right, so you can get as organized as you want. You can make it public or private. The public-private is not going to share the actual book. It's just going to share the list of things that you have on that shelf. And you can go ahead and create that, and then it's going to add that over on the side here. It's going to show you the little, the numbers are how many. Obviously, I have nothing in here right now, so on and so forth. In some of these, if you click on them, okay, so this is building out your collection. The purchase, I think, sometimes you will see offers. There's not any at this point, but it's worth clicking on every once in a while just to see, you know, if there's something there that's interesting. So let's just go ahead and for the heck of it, let's go and get Good Omens again, and we'll just add it to one of the shelves so you can see what that looks like. Okay, we'll just let's grab this one just so you can see a different one. This is the one of the original covers. Oh, by the way, in both of these, and I should get into that, is you can see a little preview of X number of pages, and we can do that in Amazon, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. But if you just want to get it, like if you want to do later a taste testing of it, you can do that here. So if you want to add it to your library, now notice I'm not buying it, I'm just adding this to my library. So if this is something that I want to check out later, I can go ahead and add it. And then what it'll do is it'll add it to that particular shelf. And you can put it in more than one shelf, you can multi-select. And then if I ever decide that I do want to read it on here, I don't have to because I already have this one, but you can go ahead and purchase it later. But you can populate your library with content that you want to read, right? So you can sort of build this out as your wish list or your to read list so that it's there for you when you have enough credits to get a free one, or you get a gift card, or you're just ready for a new book. Instead of having to go, oh, what should I read? You can have all of these out there. So you can start saving all the things that you want to read here and then start to, either get them free or paid depending on what you want to do. So let's just compare now. Let me go back. This one? Nope. Seriously. There we go. And let's take that off. So again, same kind of thing here. You can click on this and you can get that preview in the Amazon world and, kind of test drive it, see if it's something that you're interested in reading. It will, this is sort of new. They let you see it, how it would present in a Kindle format. So that would be in the Kindle app or on the Kindle device. And then there's also you can look at it as in the PDF, in the paperback view. So in case that matters to you, sometimes there are subtle differences in the two views, but to be honest, it never ever really bothers me. So we do have that. And you can add these to a list. So over here, you could click and build out a list. This account doesn't have any because I'm not actually signed in. But you can go ahead and you can build out, your reading list. And again, you can populate this with the books or whatever other content you want, even though you haven't purchased it yet, right? So you're literally just sort of like putting this in your cart or making a note about it that you can come back to and take a look at later. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so here is, and again, this link is in the description. If you do want to input the app onto your devices, here's the one for Google. And if you are in the Amazon world, you can go ahead and put the device. And this is for your mobile devices, and you can also put it on your laptop or desktop computer. So lots of options on that. And you can have these both on your system side by side. They won't compete. There won't be any problem with that kind of stuff. Let me take a sip here. All right, so let me show you what it looks like to read content from these worlds without any app or device or anything, just doing it in the browser. So we're going to switch over here now. Really? Okay, I really have to fix that key. It's like 3 weeks now. It's been getting in the way. Okay, so this is one of my many worlds here. So this is the Google side of things, right? And I'm not using all of the shelves. I could probably get rid of some of them, but I just wanted to throw some things on there so you could see. So down here, it's making recommendations, which of course you get a lot of in Amazon, but pretty much it's counting on you wanting to go and look for things. So let's just pick one. So you can click on the book, right? And say, read the ebook. Go back here. You could just hover over it and you can say read now, whatever you want. And you can see that it's telling you that you can read this in whatever format. Some publications don't work so well in some of the different formats, but you'll always get this little notification. I wonder if I have anything here that, yeah, of course, everything's going to be fine and everything. It's not as common anymore for things not to work. So let's just go ahead and we'll say this. Okay, now again, I'm in dark mode. If you don't like dark mode, you don't have to do this. But I'm literally just paging through and it's just reading. And you can come up here and you can adjust things, right? So if this is too small, you could make it bigger. If you like it, right justified or not, you can turn that off. You can switch from a single page to side by side, depending on how you like it. We're seeing side by side because I'm on a widescreen monitor here. You can change the font. If you find that a particular font is hard to read, you can come in here and do a different font. I will say, as far as accessibility goes, if you install, there's a dyslexic font. I don't have it installed on this machine, but if you install that on your machine, they've done a lot of science on that, and they've tried to make it easier for people with dyslexia to read content and absorb it. You can go ahead and select that too. So just an extra perk. Oh, this key is really not behaving. Okay, let's go here. There we go. So you've got a lot of flexibility here. Like I said, you can turn off dark mode if you don't like it. It's a personal preference kind of thing. All right, so now let's go ahead and do that inside of the Amazon world. Now, first, I need to get to my content. I thought I had that open, sorry. Hang on, it's a little dicey to get into it until you get used to it. So I think it's this one, manage your content and devices. I do have the direct link in the description for you because I go through this all the time. If you're going to use this for Amazon, you might as well bookmark it. Okay, so here's the content. So again, I can click on it over here in the more options. Let me scroll down a little bit. You can see the read now. So you can either click on that or you can click on the book itself. All the early Black Friday things are going on. And you'll see here this little green button. That is your read now option. So you can click on that. Okay, and one of the perks of the Amazon world is if you are reading the same content on different devices. So for example, if you are reading on your phone and then you go to your laptop or your desktop, they have this thing called Whisper Sync. And what it's doing is it's making note of where you stopped reading on whatever device. And then the next time you come in, it'll say, hey, last time you were reading this, on this device, and you got to this page, do you want to go to that page again? And you can say yes or no. So it's totally up to you. I'm just going to say no for the heck of it. And then again, we've got, the book, and you can go ahead and this one, you page to the right. Now you don't have as many, or well, I should say that maybe they've changed it. Okay, so you can jump around to the cover, the table of contents, all that kind of stuff. You can also change the font, but it's their font. So if you're curious, this is what the dyslexic font looks like. I've actually been reading with it, and I don't have dyslexia, but I find it a good way to read. But it's not using the fonts on your system. They are using the fonts that they provide to you. You can change the background of the page, right? The color. So if you find one easier, you can go single. So again, this is very similar to the Google experience. Okay, single page is not loading, but it usually works. And then how big the margin is, all that kind of stuff. You can bookmark your pages as well. So if you want to physically mark a page for yourself to come back to, you can do that with this. But otherwise, it's the same concept. And you can just go ahead and flip back and forth as much as you want. I know I'm pounded through a lot of this quickly, but you could always slow down the video later. I just want to kind of give you a feel for what is available and what is possible without having to load an app if you don't want to, or buy a device if you don't want to. If you do, then all these things carry across. You get the same kind of flexibility. You'll be able to see your library in the app or on the device. You'll be able to bookmark things. You'll be able to make some changes like font sizes, that kind of stuff. So fairly flexible on both sides of the world. Now, one of the other things, hang on, did I end up shutting down? Oh no, okay, I didn't. Let me just come back out. One of the other things I just want to make a point of here is that we were talking a little bit about how the content can be different. What's available to read is going to be a little bit different depending on what you're in. Amazon obviously is working with the publishers, including self-publishers, right? So there's a lot of people out there that are self-publishing to Amazon. So that would probably be the only place you could get that kind of stuff. On the Google side of things, you can also get things that have been, so there's a whole project Google's doing where they're just scanning public domain books to make them available. So you can get those kinds of things there. So let me go ahead and just show you what happens with one of these. Okay, and we'll switch over. So let's do this inside Google first, since that's how we've been doing things. So let's say that you wanted to read Connecticut Yankee, King Arthur's Court. You do the search for this here. You can get, like a series of Mark Twain content, but you see here, there is a free version and there are paid versions and then there are low price versions. And the difference with these depend on, is it coming from a publisher? Is it something that has been, scanned as part of the project that they're doing? Is it public domain? All that kind of good stuff. Now, I will just caution you that sometimes, and some people get very angsty about this, sometimes the ones that are scanned or OCR'd, where there's a software tool that's reading the text off of a page, sometimes they have mistakes in them. Not really the end of the world in my view of the world, but some people get upset about it, so I did just want to put that out there. But you see, I didn't have to buy anything, and I've got access to this book now. And I can do all the things that I showed you with the other one. I can, bookmark and all that kind of stuff. Now, if we come over to Amazon and do the same thing, including the little suggestion that I get Murphy Moore TREATS, the first one is paid, this one's paid. So there are free versions available, but they tend not to be the first thing that they show you, and they tend to be different versions than you're going to get with Google. So it's just something to be aware of. Some of the ones that you will see for free are part of the Kindle Unlimited or Prime. So let's go ahead. Let me just jump into the books here so we can kind of drill down on that a little bit, because this obviously is going to be specific to the Amazon world. Okay, so there's Kindle Unlimited. So Kindle Unlimited is a paid service. You pay every month and you get free access to books, but it's a subset of the books. It's not all the books that Amazon has available. So it's something that you can test drive. So it's definitely worth a test drive. For me, it doesn't work because the kind of books I like tend not to show up here. That said, it may be a perfect match for you because they may have all of your favorite kind of stuff there. Another way to get extra discounts or sometimes free stuff is through the Prime reading, which means if you are a Prime member, this is just part of things. Hang on one sec. Oh, the heat is killing my throat. So you get special deals if you are already a Prime member. And so that is something else to look at. Again, if you're already in Prime, it's just another Prime perk. Then there is this thing, the Villa or Bella. I don't know how they're saying it. This is something fairly new that they've added, and it's kind of an old school way of doing things. So you have to get tokens, which you can buy. There's different ways to get them. But what they do is they send you like a chapter at a time of a story. And there's all kinds of different categories. Clearly, they're trying to get my attention with the sci-fi fantasy stuff. But it's a different way to consume media. It is the way, so I mean, if you go way back, if you get in the Wayback Machine, that's how things used to get published, like either in a, magazine or a paper. They would, a chapter at a time, make this material available before publishing, books was a regular thing. I have to admit, it doesn't hold a lot of appeal for me. When I sit down to read, I read fast. So I don't want to wait for the next chapter. I want to pound through in the time that I have set aside to do reading. But that said, there's something to be said for sort of that drip type approach, because it gives you time to, you read the chapter, you can kind of mull it over, think about it before the next one comes. So it's just something else to think about. It's another option that they've made available recently. Again, they're doing a lot of freebies on it, so it might be worth going ahead and giving it a try if you're interested in that kind of thing. But again, it is something that may be of interest to you if you're already in, the Amazon world and you're looking at that kind of stuff. It's just another way to go. So something to think about. It's funny that it takes you out of the Kindle books submenus. I'm not sure why they do that, but hey, somebody made a choice. So I think that pretty much covers it. Again, the one other thing where I think Amazon does have a bit of an edge is if you are looking to browse, like if you don't really know what you want. If you know what you want and you know the title, you know the author you're looking for, you put it in, you search for it, it's an even swap. If you're browsing, first of all, Amazon has quite the engine, and so they make lots of recommendations. So that's one way to go about it. The other is, that they've got their categories broken out and you can go ahead and look. That is not something that is built in to the... Did I blow us out of this? I can bring us back. Yeah. It's not built in directly to the Google world. Let me just... Nope, doesn't need a P in front of it. Okay, so when you're in here and you're going to search, there's really not something that sort of helps you go through and, tempt you. They do at the bottom, they will make recommendations, but it doesn't have that nice categories thing. Now, I'm sure, let's say if I do sci-fi, it will get you into a category that way. But again, you have to know what you're looking for in order to get there. So the question becomes, how important is that to you? Maybe a lot, maybe not a whole lot. I'm sorry. One other thing I meant to show you is in the Google world, if you click on this little, these 9 little boxes here, you can always get into the books by scrolling around. Now, the location of the link will vary depending on how often you're using it. But you can always just click on this in order to get into it. Sorry, I meant to tell you that up front. So let me check my notes. I think that covers all of the things I wanted to tell you. Like I said, it's really not, a case where one is better than the other. It's just a case where you might be more comfortable in one over the other, or because you're already in the ecosystem of one over the other, it may just be a better fit for you. So Tech Troublemaker is saying reading Roberto Blake's book. Oh yeah, that's actually on one of my lists too. So are you Team Google, Team Amazon, or are you getting things from third parties completely? Or are you an indie publisher kind of, or indie bookshop kind of person? Because there's lots of different options out there, which is a good thing. All right, so let me just double check my notes. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I think that covers it. So when it comes to making the decision for yourself, I'm sorry, but the answer is going to be it depends. But take a look at what you're already using, right? Are you very strongly on one side or the other? If both work for you, you can use both. That's absolutely a 100% viable option. Obviously, you see I'm using both. So that's totally good. Just to drill this home, you do not need to install an app. You do not need to buy a device of any kind. All you need is a web browser, or you need a device that you can load EPUBs or PDF books onto in order to consume the content. So there's levels to this, and whatever works for you. You can use a mixture of all these kind of things. Again, it's whatever is going to be a good fit. As far as the content goes, other than that one thing that I whined about that I just can't get electronically at all, I'll just generally, for giggles, I'll go in and compare both just to see. Sometimes there's a big price difference. Most of the time it's pennies, if anything at all, because the reality is a lot of this stuff is coming from the publisher. So I'm not talking about like now the free books that, Google is scanning for us. But if you're getting something from a publisher, the publishers are setting the price. So it's really not going to matter which platform you're on because they're setting the price the same everywhere. The only difference is if there is a deal running, right? Or if you have credit. So one of the other things with Amazon, sometimes if you're just making a purchase and you're willing to push your delivery date out a little bit, lately they've been giving credits for e-content. So I've gotten free books that way by saying, yeah, I don't really need this order tomorrow. It can come next week. And so, I'll get anywhere from a few pennies to sometimes as much as $1 off. And when you collect enough of those, that's good. So again, your shopping patterns, your environment, the platforms you spend the most time on, if you just look at what options are available, it'll become pretty evident to you which one is the easy way to go. But Google for me is very often the go-to because I'm an Android girl. I'm a Google girl. I'm in that world all the time. And the fact that I literally just, it's already in my browser. I can just go ahead and do it. Makes life easy. And I do have the app installed on my phone because, hey, why not, right? Sorry, I haven't been checking. I should be checking. Okay, we're good. So yeah, that's it. Unless anybody has any other questions, that is the differences and my recommendations on how you can go about deciding what's going to be the best option for you. All right, I'm going back to the Turkey Day Marathon. Very excited about that. Love it very much. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to reach out, yourtechcoach.com. There's a contact form right there at the top. You can let me know what your question is. If you have a suggestion on a topic, like this one came from Jackie. Thank you again, Jackie. Feel free. If you need more help than that, you can also go ahead and make an appointment. So you can go to yourtechcoach.com appointments. And by the way, if you check out my socials, there might just be a deal running for the Black Friday weekend. So, if you're interested for yourself as a gift, that is certainly there as an option. I hope everybody's holiday season is going well. We are here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. You are more than welcome to come and join us live and hang out and chat. If you can't do that, please feel free to go ahead and jump into the comments with your questions or comments, and I do go and check those out. All right, everybody, we will talk again soon. Bye.